Hello everyone, and welcome to this brand new episode of Hashtag Ask Firebase. I'm Sumit Chandel, and I'm originally from Montreal. But despite having lived in the US for about 12 years now, I still get confused by Fahrenheit all the time. And here's our guest, Ryan Vernon. Hey Ryan, fun fact about Ryan is...
I like to drink tea that's been sitting out so long that it grows something on top of it.
That sounds a little dangerous.
It's kombucha.
Kombucha, yeah.
I make my own.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool. Maybe I can try it sometime. Did you bring some for me?
No, but tomorrow maybe I could.
Sweet. All right. Well, here's trying Ryan's homebrewed kombucha. Now, you work in the UX and interaction design team. Is that right?
Yes.
Cool. Nice. Well, we've got a few questions here that we can answer. Ryan, are you up to help me answer them?
Answer them? I'll try my best.
I think we can do it. Okay, let's do it. So our first question comes from Odili. And Odili asks, what are some good examples of custom metrics with Firebase performance monitoring for the web?
We have a lot of great out-of-the-box metrics like first contentful paint, the time to interaction, and all those things are awesome. And if you want to get really into it, you can make your own custom traces, which will allow you to do so much more. You could see how long a user takes to load a certain level, for example, or load a playlist and figure out, is loading a long list hurting my churn? That's a lot of things that give you a good insight into your user behavior.
That sounds pretty powerful. Is it difficult to use, or how would I kind of set up a custom trace?
It's pretty easy. Yeah, you have to go into your code and instrument a start point and a stop point, and it'll measure everything in between. It's kind of like when you drive through those speed traps the police have.
Except this sounds a lot more fun than getting caught in a police trap.
It's fun until you get caught.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, cool. Hey.
Next question.
Dave asks, is MFA still coming as suggested here?
All right, well, thank you for the question, Dave, and thanks for keeping us honest. So MFA, for those who aren't aware, stands for multi-factor authentication. And the link that Dave posted there is a link to the Google I/O presentation that Mark and Ying gave on some of the updates on authentication within Firebase. So the answer to his question is that yes, multi-factor authentication support is still coming, and we're still working on it. For any developers who are actually interested in testing it out in an early access program and providing some feedback for it, you can sign up for that actually at g.co/Firebase Alpha. There's also a link just down below in the description for you to click on. So if you're interested in checking this out, you can just enter there and then give us some feedback. But yes, it is still something we're working on, so please stay tuned for it. Thanks for the question, Dave.
You smell that?
I love the smell of fresh out of the oven. Next question.
The next question is from Pankaj about Firestore. Can you please explain pricing of using Firestore with examples? Is there a free tier? And is there a pay-as-you-go model?
Great question, Pankaj. And actually, yes, there is both a free tier and a pay-as-you-go model when using Firestore. So the free tier, is basically when you're just getting started out with Firestore, and let's say you're starting your development and you want to test it out and see how it works. And for the free tier, there are some pretty generous limits for what's available there. So to store data, there's a 1 gigabyte total limit there. For document writes, deletes, and reads, 20,000 writes and deletes per day, and 50,000 reads per day. So those are pretty high limits. So if you're just getting started out, you can kind of play around with Firestore and see if it works. Once you're satisfied, let's say your app is growing, that's when you might go to the paid tier model. What's good to know about that, though, is that the paid tier model, the pay-as-you-go model, also includes the free tier model. Those limits that I just mentioned, if you're only operating within those limits and not going beyond them, your bill will still be zero, even if you're on a pay-as-you-go model. If you surpass them, and if your app is growing, hopefully that means that you're also getting some money out of it. And at that point is kind of when there's the paid tier model and then you pay above those limits. So that's kind of how it works. For more details about specifically how the pricing works, there's some links below to check out on the Firestore pay-as-you-go model and to learn more about that. But that's kind of how both those tiers work with the free tier and the paid tier. So thanks for your question, Pankaj. All right, and that's all the time we have today for questions on this episode of Ask Firebase. Thanks again to Ryan for coming on to today's episode and helping us answer all these questions. And thank you all for submitting them. If you have more questions that you'd like to ask us and have answered in the next episode, let us know. Post it in the YouTube comments, on Twitter, Stack Overflow, whatever platform you like, and just make sure to include that hashtag AskFirebase, and hopefully we can get to it on the next episode. Until then, we'll see you later, and please remember to like and subscribe. All right, thank you.